Hi everyone and welcome to today's video where we're going to discuss The War Horse by Evan Boland. A quick video just to recap and revise what you've already learned. So we're going to look at the poetic devices, read through the poem and just give a general overview of the poem. Okay, so this dry night, nothing unusual about the clip-clop casual iron of his shoes as he stamps death like a mint on the innocent coinage of earth. Okay, so the first thing we're going to highlight here is the clip-clop casual. And of course we know that is alliteration. Okay, so the clip-clop casual, describing the horse as he walks along. The casual iron of his shoes as he stamps death like a mint on the innocent coinage of earth. Okay, so we have a simile here. So she's comparing the horse's shoe to a mint that is able to design the coins. Okay, so the coinage of earth. So he's stamping death. So straight away we have reference to death here. So we know there's a sense of violence, or this horse, it's unusual. It's not just an ordinary horse. I lift the window, watch the ambling feather of hawk and fetlock loosed from its daily tether in the tinker camp on the Enniskerry road. Pass his breath hissing, his snuffling head down. He is gone. No great harm is done. Only a leaf of our laurel hedge is torn. Now, she says there's no harm is done. She then contradicts herself and says that a leaf from the laurel hedge is torn. And then she goes on to say, of distant interest, like a maimed limb. Okay, here's where we start to see this isn't literal sense that she's talking about. She's talking about the laurel hedge is torn, of distant like a maimed limb. It's bringing us back to violence, okay? In terms of the horse isn't actually a horse. It's not a literal. She's talking metaphorically that this horse is stamping death, just like the Troubles in Northern Ireland has created violence and has resulted in maimed limbs. Look at the imagery here when she says, only a rose which will now never climb the stone of her house. Okay, think of the imagery there. A rose which will now never climb the stone of her house. So the rose won't grow old, just like comparing the rose to a child perhaps that won't grow old. Okay, it will never grow up. Expendable. Expendable means we can do without it. Okay, so if we just go back over here, we're talking about a horse. She's using this horse as a metaphor for war. It comes into the neighbourhood. It passes by, or she thinks it has passed by, and when she looks out, damage has been done. Okay. Going on to page 2 here. Okay. The stone of her house, a mere line of defence against him, a volunteer. Now, the people in the north and the Troubles who fought were known as volunteers, especially in the IRA. They would have been known as volunteers, and the UVF, Ulster Volunteer Force. Okay, so both sides there were known as volunteers. A volunteer, you might say, only a crocus, its bulbous head blown from growth, one of the screamless dead. Now, she says here that one of a bulbous head, a crocus, it has been blown from growth. So there's a sense there like a bomb has gone off, okay? One of the screamless dead. So they didn't even get to scream, okay? So bombing victims, dead instantly as soon as the bomb went off. Okay, so the horse has caused damage, and she's comparing the damage that this horse has done to the damage caused by the Troubles in Northern Ireland. But now she's talking here about those in the suburbs or those south of the border. We are safe. Why are they safe? They're safe because the Troubles doesn't seem to affect them in any shape or form. Okay, there's always talk of it spilling out over the border, but it generally didn't, bar 1974, the Dublin and Monaghan bombings, in which she talks about in Child of Her Time. Our unformed fear, again we have alliteration there, our unformed fear of fierce commitment. Why should we care? So why should we care? Now, she's challenging Irish society. She's challenging here. Why should we care if a rose, a hedge, a crocus are uprooted like corpses, remote, crushed and mutilated? Okay, a simile there again. So look at the word remote, crushed, mutilated. Okay, again the violence, the horror of war there, about mutilations. Okay, he stumbles on like a rumour of war. huge threatening. Now, the rumour of war, that's like this constant reference to the fact that the war could spill out into the south. Huge threatening. Neighbours use the subterfuge of curtains. Now, this is important. The neighbours use the subterfuge means they hide behind the curtains. I suppose if you think of any row that happens in any housing estate, people will always want to look out, but they won't want to be seen, so they hide behind the subterfuge of curtains. And I suppose it's how we react to war. It could also be a reference to how we, even in today's world, look at war. We see war on our social media pages. We see it on our TVs. Do we face it head on? Do we change the channel? Do we think about it in any shape or form? So basically, it doesn't affect us. Okay? So if it doesn't affect us, why should we care? Okay? He stumbles down our short street, thankfully passing us. I pause, wait. Then to breathe relief, lean on the sill, and for a second only my blood is still with atavism. Okay, that's instinct. Okay, and it's also reference to our the Irish psyche, the gene of being Irish. And violence has been associated with Ireland for a long time. Okay, we've had a lot of violence in this country. In fact, our country was founded on violence, the War of Independence. We've had the rebellions throughout history against the English. That rose he smashed phrase ribboned across our hedge, recalling days of burned countryside, illicit braid, a cause ruined before, a world betrayed. Okay, so the horse, okay, always remember it's a metaphor. Okay, she's talking about a horse that has come through and caused damage, but people don't care. Okay, why don't they care? Doesn't affect them. Okay, so it doesn't affect the people, so therefore they're going to hide behind their curtains. Okay, maybe it's a commentary on how we need to address the situation in Northern Ireland. We've seen in Child Over Time what happens when idle talk is allowed. People end up dead. Okay, but this horse that comes through, the thing you have to remember is the clever use of metaphor. Okay, clever use of metaphor and simile. Okay, so the crocus, the flowers, the laurel hedge torn, they're all similes and metaphors to describe people. Okay, and very often what happens in war, people are dehumanized to the extent where it becomes okay that they're dead. It becomes okay to kill people, and it's how people justified killing. In the north during the Troubles, very often it wasn't a person that was killed. It was a Protestant, it was a Catholic, it was an IRA man, it was a UVF man. Their names didn't matter because to them they were dehumanized. They weren't real people. Okay, so we've just done a quick recap. So go back over, look at your metaphors, look at your similes, the alliteration, the theme. The theme is our attitude to war, how sometimes we just don't care unless it affects us. Is it a commentary on how the people of the South don't care about their brothers in arms in the north, their brothers and sisters, Irish men and women north of the border, both Catholic and Protestant, that they don't care what they're suffering as long as they're okay. And I suppose that is a human instinct, that we look after ourselves, and maybe she's trying to change that. Well, we have to do something about it. Okay, so that's just a quick recap. Any questions, you can email the website, and if you need anything else, please ask.